Okay, so the purpose of this video is going to be showing you guys how to use arguments and placeholders inside of your string formatted query. So we're going to assume that you have a database connected. As you can see here, I have my test database. It's a query type, and I have the specific SQL query of just pulling everything from the user table, as you can see here. So here are my columns: ID, first name, last name, level, spec, and timestamp. So if once that is established, then what I did here is I'm just going to, basically I created a table here. You can just disregard everything above this table, but I created a table here, and then I also created a button underneath it. So what I did is that named query that I created, the select all name query, I ended up attaching that to a query binding. And so as you can see here, my table is, and let me pull that up. Here we go. So here's my binding. And as you can see, I have a query, and it is attached to the named query that I created. And it's selecting everything from it. So with that said, let's go into the events and actions of this button. So I'm doing Control J, and Control J is going to lift up our on-click mouse event. So this mouse event, you can disregard everything up here. Basically, all I'm doing is I'm reading a tag and then getting the value and then getting the timestamp from that value over here. But what I primarily wanted to show you is that here is the query that you can use, and there's a query that I used, and we have arguments. As you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different arguments enclosed inside of parentheses. But right before that, I have a placeholder, and this placeholder is that percentage sign, and the percentage sign has an S in front of it, standing for a string. So as you can see here, everything inside the query is inside quotations, and then outside I have the placeholder value targeting this placeholder, and then I have the S there representing a string, saying that the table name is actually a string. So then this right here, that my table name has to be a string, and as you can see, I'm pushing a string called user table, which is actually my table name inside of my named query. Let's go and show you that. Let's go back to the named queries, my select statement. Here we go. So here's my user table. So I'm using the exact string called table name from my named query. So let's go back and go here, Control J. So now you can see basically what's going on behind the scenes, and then I'm running a run prepUpdate query, because what I'm doing here is I'm pushing all the values that I assigned up top into the database through the system function called run prepUpdate. So let's go ahead and test that out. So I'm just going to click the button here, and as you can see, it popped up as ID, level, first name, last name, timestamp, spec. So it popped up, and every time I click on it, it is just going to keep logging that into the database.